This presentation is on VCE Literature passage analysis. The text is Picnic at Hanging Rock. A brief outline. Model analysis of a passage. It is good practice to analyse individual passages. As a literature student, you will be working towards analysing several passages and comparing and contrasting these. Your ability to read subtext and the subtle differences between passages will be crucial to mastering a Section B close analysis as your SAC and exam assessments. Close analysis is an important skill to develop for a Section A essay and the task Adaptations and Transformations. The purpose and the process. Purpose. Close analysis and insightful perceptions of passages are crucial to your success in this subject. This preliminary work is essential to writing a substantial and quality essay. The process. As you analyse the texts, it is a good idea to have 3 distinct highlighter pens to distinguish your highlights. For example, character, theme, and language. Ensure that highlights and quotes are brief. A sample passage. Passage from Chapter 2. The girls and their teachers are at the Rock and have just finished their Valentine's Day picnic lunch. This passage reinforces the following themes: nature, repression, colonialism, wealth, and class. The analysis. This is not an exhaustive or complete analysis of this passage, but an illustration and guide to the kinds of things you need to say when writing a passage analysis. A model analysis. The description of the girls at the beginning of the passage reaffirms the perception that their clothing is a symbol of restriction and conformity, and that their society, represented by their clothing, is alienated from their natural environment. It is important to focus on the language of the passage and to explore its significance. We note the juxtaposition between natural and the constricting clothing they must wear. The girls, and by implication their society, are incongruous here, an idea foregrounded from the beginning of the novel. It is important to link the passage to the text as a whole. It is also important to discuss a key idea from the text when making such a link. Insulated suggests that society regards such privileged young women as both needing protection and confinement. Contrasts, comparisons, and juxtapositions are important language elements that can be explored. However, do not simply identify, say, a juxtaposition. You must explain how it is being used to create meaning. This first paragraph of the analysis also outlines an important idea which will be the overall focus of the discussion. The girls' behaviour is listless and aimless, turned inward and away from the natural splendour around them. They amuse themselves, the word itself, and the examples illustrated, such as Cleopatra's banquet. Construct the girls as facile and indulged. Focus on language using specific brief quotes and explain their significance. Lindsay uses the girls as a metaphor for an English or European sensibility that is parochial and complacent. Again, ensure that you embody important ideas from the text as a whole. Her alliterative use of drowsy, drugged, dozed, dreamed creates a perception of a group who are insular in their values and behaviour, with only a gesture towards the landscape in which they live, but have no appreciation of. Strict instructions not to stray. Use quotes and focus on language. When you use meta-language, such as alliterative, when appropriate, make sure you explain why it is being used. The sensuality of the alliteration is also inward-looking, focused on self, in contrast to the vivid sensuality of the girls' surroundings. More focus on contrast. However, while exposing their limitations, Lindsay does not judge the girls. We note the steady rhythm of her description and the objectivity of her prose. The rhythm of language is important in examining poetry, but is also important in prose work. She understands the girls as embodying the views and values of their class and culture. It is useful to allude to the author's or narrator's perspective where appropriate. An analysis passage from Chapter 2. Insulated from natural contacts with earth, air and sunlight, by corsets pressing on the solar plexus, by voluminous petticoats, cotton stockings and kid boots, the drowsy, well-fed girls lounging in the shade were no more a part of their environment than figures in a photograph album, arbitrarily posed against a backcloth of cork rocks and cardboard trees. Hunger satisfied and the unwanted delicacies enjoyed to the last morsel, the cups and plates rinsed at the pool, they settled down to amuse themselves for the remainder of the afternoon. Some wandered off in twos and threes, under strict injunctions not to stray out of sight of the drag. Others, drugged with rich food and sunshine, dozed and dreamed. Rosamond produced some fancy work. Blanche was already asleep. Two industrious sisters from New Zealand were making pencil sketches of Miss McCraw, who had at last removed the kid gloves in which she had absently begun to eat a banana with disastrous results. Sitting upright on a fallen log, with her knife of a nose in a book and her steel-rimmed spectacles, she was almost too easy to caricature.